So the next skill we're going to be talking about is setting, and the first thing we're going to talk about with setting is our hand position on the ball. And so a lot of times younger kids will set with really flat hands, or they'll set with lobster claws, and we want something in the middle of that. So the way I teach it is, if you put your hands on your hips, and we don't move our hands when we take them off, we just move our arms out and put them in front of us, and put them above our forehead like this. This is the position we want. So hands on our hips, hands out in front of us, hands up. And we want our thumbs facing our eyebrows a little bit, and we want all 10 fingers to touch the ball. So if I were to grab this ball and put it in Izzy's hands, all 10 fingers are touching, all 10 fingers are touching. And I ideally want to take each set on their forehead, to get their forehead to the ball. So we don't want to set from our chin, we don't want to set from too far behind us, just right on our forehead. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to practice setting against the wall. So we're going to get about a foot and a half against the wall, and all we're going to do is practice taking it on our forehead and sending it back and forth. Okay? There we go. So a couple things that we want to become aware of is we want to make sure that our hands are staying in that ball position and not turning into flat hands. So the next progression in setting is to add in footwork. And what we're going to do is we are going to bounce to ourselves and get our feet to the ball. So like I emphasized earlier, we ideally want to be setting from our forehead each time. And so we want to catch that ball. We're going to take away the set. We're going to catch that ball on our forehead. And for younger players, we like to emphasize getting that right foot forward. So if you're against the net, your hips are facing away from the net, and not if your left foot forward. If your left foot is forward, you're facing towards your opponent's side of the net. So we're going to bounce to ourselves. We're going to get to the ball, left, right foot forward, and catch on our forehead. And what I'm going to ask these two to do is to freeze on each catch, so they can analyze what their bodies are doing, so they can correct if they see something's wrong. Okay? So go ahead, Izzy, go ahead, bounce one. And freeze. So what's going on? Let's start with our feet.
I needed my right foot.
Yep, she needs her right foot a little more forward, but she's taking this ball perfectly on her forehead, and her forefingers and thumbs are the same distance apart, okay? So Maddie, go ahead. There we go. So perfect right foot forward. What's going on up here?
My hands are too far back of my head.
Yep, so she's setting from behind her head right now, and we want to be taking everything from in front of our head. Okay, so each one of you do a couple more bounces right now. Catch. There we go. Good. Couple more. Make sure those catching on the forehead. Good. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now, I want you to bounce, and instead of catching, go ahead and set it. Okay? Bounce, forehead, set. So the next stage in setting is to actually incorporate the follow-through into our sets. So we're doing a great job getting our feet to the ball, getting our hands in the right position on the ball, and now we're actually going to do the release. And so what we want to emphasize here is pointing to where you want the ball to go and finishing with flat hands. So a lot of younger kids will want to swim through their sets. We want them to set and freeze into Superman position, I call it. This is how Superman flies. So same thing, Izzy here is going to bounce the ball, get her forehead to the ball, and instead of catching it, she's now going to set it and follow through into Superman position.